welcome to This is Meet the Elite.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yes, this is Joseph Caskey. He is our in-home lender here in office. He helps us with like all of our lending needs. If it's like a simple question, a new buyer, anything, he's our go-to guy.
Thank you for having me. I look forward to doing it. And
Yeah, well, welcome. You're in the hot seat right now.
yeah.
So,
Well, where do you want to start? What got me into it? Or
yeah, tell
okay,
us from the very beginning. Like, you're pretty young now to be how old?
27.
27. Okay,
Yeah,
but you're pretty young for this industry. How
yeah.
did you get into it?
So I got into it because of family.
Okay.
Long story short, when I was 14 years old, my old man was like, "Hey, you have to get a job."
At
And
14?
at 14, my dad's from
Okay.
Iowa. That's just how our family's raised. He's the 11th of 12. It's hard work.
Okay.
Um, I couldn't get a job anywhere. I mean, I applied
Well, yeah, it's called
McDonald's.
child labor,
Yeah,
like 14?
Yeah. So my neighbor owned a huge landscaping company and he goes, "Look, I will hire you." He's like, "You will work." He goes, "We'll work some things out." He's like, "But you will come to work with me and you'll work in the yard 40 hours a week." And my dad's like, "Done." So I worked there and I did
Okay.
it every summer for 3 summers. And on my 3rd summer, it was like 122 degrees out
Mhm.
and my old man texted me. He goes, "It got hot in my office today." He's like, "I had to turn my thermostat down." Um, and I texted him back and I was like, just not nice words were exchanged.
Uh-huh.
And I got home that day and it's a Friday and he's like having a cocktail. And I was like, "What you do for a living is a joke." And he sits there and he's just laughing. He's got his cocktail in hand and he goes, "What do you mean?" I was like, "All you do is order appraisals and give people money." I was like, "How hard can that be?" And so he looked at me and he's like, "Let's see, get your license then." He's like, "If you get your license, we'll talk."
Yeah.
So then I went, took the class, got my license at 18 years old and had no idea what I was gonna do with it. Didn't even know I was gonna get into the business.
Yeah.
And I processed for him all through college, ended up liking it.
Mhm.
Got one loan while I was in college,
There you go.
uh, covered some bills, and I was like, "Do you know what? I actually like this industry."
Yeah.
And I finished out my degree in finance and kinda stuck with it.
Well, we have something in common.
Okay.
I worked in landscaping too.
Did you really?
I did.
Did you actually do the manual labor?
Yes, I did.
Okay, what'd you do for him?
I sprayed weeds.
Okay.
Yeah, so when I was in college, it was going into my last semester and I needed money for books. And my one of my friends, he was on the landscaping crew. He's like, "Hey, well, our secretary is out of the office for maternity leave. You can help with like be a receptionist." I'm like, "Sweet." I just need to pay for, a few $1,000s to pay for these books. I was a little bit short going into the next,
Right.
semester, knowing what was coming up. And so I started being a secretary. She came back from maternity leave and I still wasn't quite there on what I owed for my books for that upcoming semester,
Okay.
and the owner offered me a spot on the crew, and I took it.
There you go.
So, I would spray medians, like, in the ci the he
Right.
they were, like, in the city of Tempe were their clients, like, big, big, what do you call it? Like, portfolios or
Right.
whatever that they had, and city of Tempe was one of them. So I sprayed weeds on the medians in Tempe. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, mine was in Chandler. There's
Okay.
all big HOAs and then like private like shopping centers.
Uh-huh.
So like the hospital off of Dobson and what is that, Fry or Pecos?
Yeah.
That whenever I pass by that section, like all whoever's in the car with me, I'm like, I used to landscape that whole area. Like
Yeah.
all those bushes and stuff that are trimmed nicely, like I did that.
Yeah, when I was in college, I was so embarrassed. Like, I never told any of my friends that's what I was doing in the
Okay.
summer because, I'm like a little cheerleader in college and I wore the crew shirt.
Right.
I had the big hat and I remember being like right next to ASU campus, like spraying weeds, like nobody recognized me, nobody recognized me. But now it's like I think it's a badge of honor being like I'm never too prideful to work hard for what I need to get done.
Right.
And that's why I love that landscaping story for you, because it sounds like your dad kind of instilled that in you too, like, show you what life would be like without taking the actions of going to school, getting your license to
Right.
be in the office, but you have a thermostat.
And air conditioning. That's a
Yeah.
huge one. Yeah, I did love it because at 14, 15, and 16 years old, even 17 when I was, like, my last summer there,
Yeah.
there's no other place that I could work, like, 40 plus hours and make money hand over fist. Like, the work itself sucked, but they paid $1 more than minimum wage,
Uh-huh.
which I think at the time was, like, $8 an hour. But I got my check every Friday and was like, "This is awesome." Like,
Yeah.
I had to go deposit it at the Bank of America, like physically walk in there and I'd be like just covered in sweat. But it'd be the first thing I do. I'd ride with the crew and we'd
Uh-huh.
go cash all of our checks.
Yep.
So I mean it was awesome. I would never do it again,
Same.
you know?
Same. Yeah.
But it makes you realize that like there's manual labor is just not what you want to do. And if you do
Yeah.
do it, it's still a good
It's not for
profession.
everyone. It's hard.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard.
I'm like, even now in my own house, I have turf and rock, and I still have a landscaper because it's hard work.
No, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you started at a young age. How did your dad get into lending then?
So he got into lending in college,
Okay.
and he went to UNI, so where Kurt Warner went to college.
Okay.
That's his, like, claim to fame. Like, my dad's like, "I went to Northern Iowa," and
Okay.
no one knows what that is, and he goes, "Well, Kurt Warner went there," and he, like, graduated the same year.
Oh, nice.
Um, but the School of Business rolled out a real estate class, and so he
Okay.
took a bunch of real estate classes, and then he actually worked for Chase Bank. And then, from Chase Bank, they kept messing with his commissions. So then he started a company actually when I was born. So the day I
Okay.
was born, Pathway Home Loans was his first brokerage that he ever started. And I was born in a hospital at the same time. And then the rest is kind of history. He had a few mortgage companies here and there, obviously with the housing market crisis, which and then he opened Legacy Lending. Legacy Lending's been a thing since '07.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's huge in this industry because we see a lot of lending companies kind of go out of business.
Uh huh.
Um, but to be open since 2007, that shows that he's good at his job. He hired the right people. His son taught you young.
Yeah, he loves it. It's funny though. I remember right out of college, I actually left Legacy. Like I left the company for a full year, and
Okay.
I went and worked for Rocket Mortgage. At the time, it was Quicken Loans, and I just remember I called him and was like, "Hey, I'm leaving." And he goes, "Are you serious?" And I go, "Yeah." I was like, "I don't know how to sell." I was like, "You could give me a loan, you could give me a client, and I could like structure a loan, and I could be like, here's your loan,'
Yeah.
and you'd be like, 'Well, why is this my loan?' I'm like, I don't know, but it saves you money, and this is like what you need. Just
Yeah.
trust me." And clients would look at me like I'm crazy, like on the phone or like even meeting them in person at like 19, 20 years old.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I need to figure out a way that I can get a bunch of at bats, like a bunch of opportunities to talk to people and just sell better.
Yeah.
And Rocket was able to provide that. I kid you not, at one time, I dialed out 500 times in one day. Um, it was a great opportunity. I obviously I'm no longer with them. I have nothing against them. It's just that was the stepping stone that I needed to kind of further my career.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I came back. So
Yeah. And now you have your very own office and
yeah, I have our own office. We're trying to like slowly expand. So my dad's always ran like a lean shop. He said never had more than like since Legacy's been around, he's never had more than like 4 or 5 LOs.
okay.
Now we have about 10.
Wow.
We're trying to grow. We opened up office in Vegas a few years ago. We opened one up here this year, and then we actually have another one in downtown Chandler.
So when you say sales, your clients a lot of times are real estate agents. What do you do to like stay in front of other real estate agents to hopefully get that, that teamwork to move forward and close deals together?
A lot of it's working with the buyer together. Um, a lot of a lot of people don't realize how easy it is to buy a home. Like the barrier to entry isn't as great as everyone thinks it is.
Yeah.
Um, like
It's
what
just scary.
It is scary. It's
Yeah.
very intimidating,
Yeah.
especially in the Arizona market where the average home is like $450,000.
Yeah.
And people are like, I don't have 100 grand to put down on a home, right?
Yeah.
20%, whatever the $110,000,
Yeah.
whatever that number may be. And one of my buddies, who's an accountant, like one of the smartest people I know, he came up. We'd been drinking at a bar one night and we're sitting around in all my buddies' own houses for the most part. We're 27, 28 years old.
Impressive.
Um, and he doesn't own a house. He lives in a townhome that he rents. And he's like, I want to talk to you about something. I'm like, dude, we're drinking right now. Like
Yeah.
what's going on? He's like, let me come over to your house after we get done drinking. I was like, all right. So we get home. It's like 11:30 at night, and we're having a beer at my place. And he goes, how the hell do you guys all own houses? And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, how do you guys all have like 100 grand to put down on all these homes? Even more on some of the people who just bought homes that are like $600,000. And I was like, dude, no one's put 20% down.
Yeah.
I was like, at most, I was like, someone put 5% down on their home. He goes, "That's it?" I go, "Yeah." And I walked him through it all, and he goes, "Holy cow!" And now next year, he's gonna buy a house once his lease ends.
I think that's if you're hitting on a huge point, it's scary, especially if you come from a family that has never owned a home before. You don't know what it actually takes. And if you know you might not be able to do it this year, but sitting down with you and kind of putting a timeline and like goals, like incremental goals to help them get to their dream of owning a home, it's not as hard than you
Right,
would think.
it's not that
Yeah.
bad. I mean, the saving the money's, like, probably the hardest part of it all, but most people have the income to afford a home. And tackling that together with an agent is what makes or breaks a deal.
Yeah.
Like, if you have an agent that's in your corner and they're like, "Hey, this week or this every 2 weeks or every month, we're gonna follow up with this client, and we're just gonna kinda tag team it." That way they don't feel like they're just being bombarded by one party.
Yeah.
Um, it just makes a world of difference. And then at that time, you may pick up some other clients through that one potential client.
Yeah.
Right? Because 'Cause they'll be like, "Hey, I'm working with Joseph to get pre-approved." They're like, "We're 6 months out from qualifying, but you should give him a call, and maybe that person will be 3 months, or they need to buy a home that day."
Yeah, and I'm sure you hear all the time, "Well, interest rates are so high."
Right.
Yeah, so what do you say to that?
I say it's all relative. Like, right now, the Cromford report just came out, what was it, last week? And they said that, um, we're officially transitioned to a buyer's market.
Yeah.
And interest rates over the last 3 years haven't changed. So it took 3 years for us to get into a place where buyers now have kind of the upper edge on being able to cover all their closing costs, which kind of offsets the higher interest rate. Because people are like, "Well, rates are high," and while I agree that's true, it's you can get into a home with just your down payment, and you can offset that money that you would have spent on closing costs if we were in a lower interest rate market,
Yeah.
to kinda subsidize your payment.
Yeah.
And people just don't see it that way. And if you
Yeah.
explain it that way to them, you're like, all right, well, today interest rates are 6, 7%, and my payment's $400 higher per month, but I'm not spending eight to $10,000 in closing costs now to get into a home,
Yeah.
right? Which would, you could subsidize that out for XYZ years in the off chance or when rates do fall.
Yeah. No, I think when rates do go down, we're gonna see a whole another group of buyers coming to the market too, which is gonna make it more competitive. You're not gonna have your closing costs paid for. And yeah, but I think when you just put it down on paper, you'll see what works best for them. And right now is a great time
Right.
to buy.
I think it's always a good time to buy if you're going to own the home for at least 3 years. Um, it's just rates is just one of those things that I hate that expression of like marry the home, date the rate, because I said that to clients 2 years ago, and
Yeah, me too.
they're still
Yeah.
stuck at that rate, and
It's
they
probably
call.
on my Instagram if you scroll
Oh
down,
yeah,
you know?
and they call me and they're like, "Hey, rates haven't they're fallen. Like, where's my refinance at? You promised me." And you put them in like some buy down program where their interest rate is lower for the first year,
Yeah.
and it's one of those things that it will come around, but down the road financially they will come out ahead.
Yeah.
So I think it's always worth it to invest either today or tomorrow, but you can't dwell in the past of, oh, I'm going to wait for another housing market crash, or I'm going to wait for rates to be lower. I'm going to wait for home prices to be lower. There's never ever a good time to buy.
Yeah.
And I would say there are fortunate fews who do like get in at the right exact time, but you can't, there's only a handful of people.
Yeah.
Some people bought at like a very low time and were able to sell at a high time, and some people, bought at the peak of the market and they're stuck in their home for the next year or two.
Yeah.
It's just the name. It's just how reality works,
Yeah.
right? It's no different than buying a bad investment.
Yeah. Well, at your age, you're saying that a lot of your friends have bought their first home,
Yeah.
and a lot of them now are probably looking at expanding their own portfolios to start investing in real estate because we're all told real estate is the best investment that you can do for your future. Um, how would they go about to do that? Like, what's the difference in down payment they would need? Would rates be different? What are things to look for if they're
So that's a great question. I have a friend that's in that similar boat. They just had their first kid.
yeah,
They had a starter home. They're looking to have another kid next year, so they're going to buy a house. And they're like, I don't have 20%. And I'm like, you do not need 20%. That whole ideology, it does exist, but only once you have either a huge real estate portfolio or you're buying investment properties. But what you can actually do is as long as the house is considered like an upgrade,
yeah,
whether that be like to a better school district or bigger square footage or nicer neighborhood,
yeah,
you can kind of spin it off any which way you want. You can actually buy another home and put 5% down. And we can actually use the estimated rents on your current property to offset that mortgage payment.
sweet.
So
Yeah, we do property management here at Arizona Elite Properties, and right now business is booming because people are doing that same thing. They're
right.
renting out their current home so that it'll help them with their debt to income to buy their next home.
And it's great for people who feel like they're rate locked right now, where
Mhm.
maybe they bought in 21 or 2020 through 2022 where the rates were 3 to
Yeah.
4% and they're like, I do not want to let go of this home,
Yeah.
but I need to upgrade.
Yeah.
Like I have my house is bursting at the seams with children,
Yeah.
dogs,
Every
cats,
day we see that.
chickens, whatever it may be. And all they have to do is you can turn that into a rental. You'll now have rental income because if it's at 2, 3, 4%, it's gonna make money.
Yeah.
And now that money that you're earning will offset your 6, 7%, bigger house.
Yeah.
It's a great way to do it. And I do see that being kind of the future of people hanging on to more homes because of that market that took place a few years ago.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Very cool. Where do you see your company and yourself in the next 5 years?
The goal is to bring on about 15 LOs in total
Okay.
production. So we're about
And LOs for people that don't
oh, is it
aren't in the
loan
industry.
officer? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So bring on a few more loan officers who produce. And I'd love to be doing, $250 million as a company
Okay.
annually. Um, we're getting there.
Okay.
It's there's definitely growing pains. I didn't think it was going to be as hard as it is, but that is the overall goal. So, what about yourself for real estate? Do you have any goals for this year?
I do. This year I just had a newborn baby. So the first half of the year I kind of took a step back and loved on my baby. I had my other babies 10 years ago and I was in the hustle of real estate. So I feel like I missed out on a lot of those milestones. And so the beginning of this year, I took a break a little bit from real estate. I mean, I was still closing about one deal a month. Um, but I have big plans for the next half of the year. I want to close realistically on my pipeline 8 million second half of 2025.
For the second half, just 8 million?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big goal.
I'm gonna do
Yeah,
it.
you're going to do it? That's
Yeah.
awesome. So, what have you done so far this year? Because we are halfway through
Yeah.
2025.
Yeah. My numbers now, I'm not like I took let's see, I don't know where I'm at, to be honest. I have a lot of new builds that are
Okay.
going to close.
Okay.
So let's see. I've only closed about 4 homes this year, which is my least amount I've ever done. But
Since you've gotten into the business?
yeah.
Okay. And
Well,
what
besides my first year.
besides your first year?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's fair. Your
My
first
first
year,
year I made $13,000 and I worked 7 days a week, all day, every day.
all day, every day. What'd you
Yeah.
do? Knock doors?
Rentals.
You did rentals?
Yeah.
So have you been with EBA or not EBA, Elite Business?
Yeah.
Or Arizona Elite
Yeah. Yeah. I started as a receptionist when I was 16 years old for this office.
for this office.
Yeah. So
So
20 plus years ago.
when was the weed company? Or when you're spraying weeds?
That was, in college too. So, we would start on um, it was during summers of college, but we'd start at 5 a.m.
Okay.
And so I would do a few hours and a lot of times go to class and then I would work in the afternoons in Arizona Elite
Oh, so you've
Properties.
always been grinding. Okay.
I'm a grinder. I
So
get things
so
done.
so you were the Jace, right? Who's about to get licensed and,
Yeah, yeah, no, I
yes,
started at the front desk.
at front
It's
desk.
what I did. And what's so great about that is like when you start at the bottom, you learn everything about the business and
Right.
what you wanna do, what you don't wanna do, what type of leader you wanna be when you are in a top ranking position, what type of leader you don't wanna be. Um, I think it's so important to to have the grind.
So do you have any other goals like team-wise? Are you trying to grow out a team? Do you have a team currently?
Well, I've kind of stepped out of property management.
Okay.
My husband now kind of took over all of property management because that takes all day, every day, no break. And this time around, being a mom, I want to be a mom, which I missed out on. But doing sales, I'm able to still be a mom, still hustle with my buying and selling with the help of my own mom, like watching my baby. And my older kids are now in school.
Okay.
Um, so yeah.
Okay. Well, good deal. I guess my biggest question, you said you want to do 8 million.
Yeah.
I know for a lot of real estate agents crossing that $5 million barrier, right? Like, because
Yeah.
I consider anything over 5 million, that'd put you what, top 10% in Arizona, roughly?
Yeah. Yeah.
for production.
Yeah.
What made you cross that barrier? Because now you're juggling a lot of more people, right? You're doing multiple transactions. What has been your biggest thing in helping facilitate that? Especially with having a newborn kid,
Blocking out time.
blocking out time.
A lot of real estate agents, they work from home, which
Okay.
is a great blessing. I am one of those people that cannot do that. So I am a stickler on routine. I get up, I get my kids ready, drop my baby out at my mom's house, go work out first thing in the morning, get to the office. I'm here by 9:15, 5 days a week.
There
I'm
you
at
go.
the office every single day. A lot of agents don't step into the office. And then once I get into my office, I just have like blocks of time where I know here's where I'm going to work on social media leads. Here's when I'm going to, check in with my investors. Here I'm going to check in with clients. I always check in
Okay.
and I always call people too. I'm not just a texter or an email person. Like I call my people and I think there's so much value in that, and it's so simple to just check in on your people.
Right.
How are you doing? What are your goals like? But not so salesy, just like checking in because I genuinely care. And when you build those relationships, then come, referrals or their next step in the real estate world.
Right. Uh,
So when I stick to my blocks, I do pretty well hitting my numbers, but I am trying to make up for a slow first half, and I'm on the road to do it in my pipeline.
and it sounds like you're going to, right? If
I
you got the
will.
pipeline going, you got some new builds in.
I will.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Because with the new builds, which is, you know, it's kind of
Right.
I have things in pending, but they're not going to close till the end of the year. So I kind of know what's closing there, but then we're going to start selling now in the next in this quarter, selling putting their house on the market. So there's like, you know, it's a double-ended.
Just juggling a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have
Yeah.
you read the book? Oh man, Ryan Serhant. Do you know who that is?
No.
You're owning Manhattan. He's the
No.
guy with the white hair on Netflix. Big time realtor. He actually just opened up a brokerage here in Arizona. The
Okay.
Serhant Group.
Okay.
Anyways, he has a book about selling real estate. That's what he is. He's like a big time real estate agent.
Okay.
But he just talks about you just got to juggle as many things as possible.
Yeah.
He goes and he's like, eventually, he's like, you'll catch a few of them. He's like, and
Uh-huh.
they just keep moving along.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest things I took away from his book is you can't just juggle one or two things. So you just got to have as many up in the air as you can, and
Yeah.
as they fall, just keep catching them.
Yes.
Which is
Yes.
crazy. But in terms of coming to the office, that is one of the biggest things I probably stick to. Because I did work from home during COVID
Yeah.
when I worked for Rocket, and as much fun as it was also awful being confined to like the same four walls.
Yeah.
And then you're in your house and you start realizing that like, okay, I can do laundry real quick, or hey, I can
Uh-huh.
do the dishwasher, or I can do this little house project.
Yeah.
And it takes away from your work. And when you're
Absolutely.
in a sales role, you cannot taking
Y
away from sales
the
is
little things
it's taking
add
away from
up.
money.
The little things add
Right.
up, like, dropping my kids off at school, walking them up to the fence, and just saying hi to the other parents, showing up to all the birthday parties that we get invited to. Like, you don't say no to any networking event that you
Right.
could get into, even if it's, um, having a glass of wine with a new mom friend. You always show up, and that's the way you build your sphere, and the bigger the sphere and the more you nurture your sphere, the
Right.
better. So, our goal too for the end of the year is we're really trying to give back to our people. We're doing like a back to school bash next week where we're doing like we rented out a whole pool over at Basha High, and we're gonna have like all our friends, all our family. It can have up to 500 people. Right now, we have over 200 that have RSVP'd. And we're just gonna like provide dinner, snacks, food, raffle tickets, with different tickets to different games, etc. Because those are our people and we want to take care of our people. And I think if you take care of your people, they come to you when they're
Right. No, I
into their next avenue.
100% agree. You might not see anything that day,
Exactly.
but it'll come back
Yep.
tenfold later on.
Yep. But that's a big goal of ours for the next half of the year is hitting every other month a big client appreciation event.
Wow, that's huge. Most people only do one a year, if that.
You know what? We have big goals, and with big goals come you got to change things up a little bit.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Well, sweet.
All right.
Is that
Anything else?
it? No,
All
that's all
right.
I got.
You know what? I think we're good.
All right.
All right.
Well, thank you so much for having me out here. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for coming out.